to get into this topic for a while. So, since we're right here, welcome back to Solace, my geekers, my tweakers, and my goons. I hope you have been geeking, tweaking, and probably not gooning as much, but geeking and tweaking definitely. Today we're getting into creation and consumption. I feel like this is about time for me to just make my shift into more. I want to start talking about more spiritual and communicative topics, meaning I was always more targeted and oriented towards spiritual awareness, which is more so just you learning more about the self, know thyself. And through this, I feel like communication, definitely, especially since we are communicative animals and creatures and we're social, we definitely need to work on this throat chakra. Cool, got that out of the way. Now, creation and consumption. Whew. This one can get heavy depending on what type of person you are. If you're an artist, you already understand what the fuck I'm saying. If you're not, this can come off a certain way, but you intuitively know whether or not you should or should not be doing something. Now that that's out of the way. If we're talking about creation, we're obviously talking about bringing something to existence through our being, whether it be materialistically, speaking it, in any way that you choose to create something is creation. Don't really need to explain it. Consumption can be a little different though, because we consume any and everything basically. Food, media, food. That's basically everything people do anyway. So, but because those things are so important, you have to think about the implications behind not only what you consume, but how you consume it. And this is something I feel as though most people don't really take into consideration, because guess what I'm about to say? As far as how times have gone recently, most people are not going to take that initiative to research topics that they're told about front and center. So if someone gives you a 2-minute explanation as to why the ice caps are melting and you don't feel like researching that, you're just going to take what they say. This is how it is. And for better or for worse, we're in a time of information, so it was bound to be this way. However, what we can still choose to do with our free will is choose what we consume. This is our media diet. This is different from what you choose to eat, but it still affects your body in the same way, because you have to think about it like this. If you watch live leak videos, I had a middle school phase. We all went through middle school. Over time, your brain becomes desensitized to way more than it should. And it's because you're putting yourself into very hyperbolic extremes that you do not need to be in. But because the brain gets bored after a while, after consuming the same amount of shit over and over again, what does it do? It looks for something new to push it further. That's why things like corn is so degenerate and getting much more degenerate, and will become much more degenerate until it gets to a point where it can't be any more degenerate, and then they'll find something else to make even crazier, because that's just how we are as people. We're a little fucked up. But even within that doesn't necessarily mean that extremes are always bad, because you have to think about it. Operations of polarities. As far as we have the bads, we also have the goods. So you can also be consuming medias that, I don't know, tell you how to make your favorite food in the most optimized way possible. That way you can meal prep that shit 5 times out of the week and you're fucking set. Looking at videos as to researching your gut microbiome. I'm putting you on, please look into it if you haven't. These things are educational in a way that is going to benefit your greater good. Now, the thing with creation is there's nothing new, because everything that has been done under the sun already. So when we're creating, we're taking innovation and what is this part of the brain called? Our lateral being, combining these things together to create a new product that will 9 times out of 10 benefit the collective. That is usually the goal of creation, even if it does come in its own form of alternative, which is destruction. Because we have both creation and consumption. You have to create something for somebody to consume it, and for you to consume something, it has to be created, right? Now, the thing about this is everybody creates and everybody consumes. It's just a spectrum, basically. And what I would just like to suggest in this video is that we make it more so in 70-30, 80-20 split. of creation to consumption, because you're always going to consume whether or not you want to or not. As long as you're connected to the internet, you're watching this video, you're going to be bound to consume because you're surrounded by information to consume. Now, what we can still choose to do is choose what we allow into our bodies. What do we want to consume? You do not want to consume every fucking opinion that you see everywhere, because you will lose your fucking mind, as most people are and are currently doing. So what I would suggest is you take time to first identify what you find important, whether it be family, whether it be your food, whether it be traveling. Find these things and find out the specifications of what you want. This is where we bring in discernment. With traveling, where do you specifically want to go? Why do you want to go there? Figure out what places are there. That way, we can do things like avoid last-minute decision making, because, oh my God, let's stop that. Let's please stop last second decision making. Please. With family, you could think of family structures as in, I don't know, childhood traumas, my bad. But that's a little harder and deeper for some people, so I wouldn't even go as far as that. I would more so say you can even look into doing things with your family. You can search these things up. Little trips, even if not trips, go get some Connect 4. These are things that you can consume together, but in a positive way, rather than watching this bullshit ass debate that just happened. So, when we have the option to do both of these things, it's going to coalesce in its own way. It's bound to. And I really want to harden the fact that this isn't a bad thing. Consuming is not a bad thing. It's just once we get into overconsumption, like with anything, we should always have a median. You know, you don't ever want to go overboard with anything. You don't want to drink too much water. These are things we already know. So we should do the same thing with overconsumption, because think about how you feel after getting off from work and going straight to TikTok or YouTube or whatever the fuck. Your brain is still working. Your brain has not gotten a rest yet, whether you feel like it or not, because you're laying down. Your brain is still fucking, and that's why you wake up the next day still tired, because you haven't even given yourself that real rest. And so with this, I would just really want to suggest, I guess I can give you somewhat of like a timeline. If we consume, give yourself a rest period before you consume again. If we're creating, create, consume a little bit, take that rest, consume a little bit, create. So that way, by the time you get that second consumption, you're able to look back on what you're trying to get, harden that idea, and then actualize it for the final part of that creation, right? We can also do, you see what I'm doing? You just have to build patterns that have structure instead of just consume. Because what are you then? You're part of the system, you're part of the problem. So let's be a part of the solution, please. Damn, I did good this time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video on Solace. I love all of you so much. You're beautiful creatures, my little monkeys. I'm sorry. Yeah, but thank you again, and I will see you Monday. If you didn't see the last one, I am posting Mondays through Fridays, weekends off, so I can find and talk about, or no, not talk about, find new topics if I don't have them already. I don't know why I just started looking at my direct. I thought that was crazy. See you. I just not okay.